Sam Basil returned as Deputy Prime Minister. Closure of Women's SME Trade Centre affects business. And Women's National Football Team prepares for regional qualifiers.
This is National MTV News with Dennis Orere.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for Friday's news. The closure of the Women's SME Trade Centre at Waigani has affected 90 women entrepreneurs. Founder of Pacific Women Network, Ruth Undi, says it is a sad state for the women who have established business networks to embrace the small to medium enterprise. Undi is appealing to the government for intervention.
In a news conference yesterday, Ruth Undi shed tears of the loss of business the 90 women are forced to with the shutdown of the trade centre in Port Moresby. She says the closure has affected the women who want to aspire in the MSME sector, a situation beyond their control after almost 3 years of operation.
Steamship, kisim this la place long all back, but government you look sour in a country, you look sour long all this all marry when me plus struggle long and at least all can come and help him all marry. Cry blow me now long, you plus government must look sour long marry.
The Pacifica Women Network Trade Centre was opened in 2018 with the hope to support 90 women as aspiring entrepreneurs. The trade centre expanded with 90 stores, with some entrepreneurs securing business outside the country. Ruth Undi is appealing to the government to intervene.
I really want this story to be heard by our leaders in this country. There is real struggle for those small SME women and men in this country.
While the government has unleashed plans to support the MSME sector, Ruth Undi hopes these women will not be forgotten. She has been spending her own money to support the 90 entrepreneurs. The founder hopes intervention will be soon to support and embrace the sector in the country.
For me, it is very sad that, for being a businesswoman, and then I really want to empower women out there to give her that dream. It's very sad.
Jack Power Jr., National MTV News.
Morobe's Physical Planning Board identified a fence constructed by Kungi Holdings Limited, a business arm of Morobe Provincial Government operating at Lays Airport, as an illegal structure. According to the provincial physical planner, Dopenu Logi, Kungi Holdings failed to seek approval from the board before constructing the fence last year. A stop work notice was served to Kungi Holdings CEO Elizabeth Bradshaw in October 2019.
Morobe's physical planner Dopenu Logi said Kungi Holdings CEO Elizabeth Bradshaw was served a stop work notice on the 27th October 2019 for not complying with the government's rules and regulations. The board identified the structure as illegal after Bradshaw failed to apply through the board to seek permission for the development. The provincial physical planner said a surveyor has to survey the area and identify the land boundaries before the board approves their application. In a similar case in 2018, a demolition order signed by Inspector Boni Tangara from the Provincial Building Board was served to a Chinese company for illegally constructing a 3-meter concrete fence. Zinglong Investment is trading with various business names at Lays 2 Mile area. However, the demolition didn't happen. The residents raised a concern when the fence collapsed and fell onto the residential area.
I no so where this la demolition notice got a power long or not. This la na got questions, so me like authority must consider la na make so one effectiveness but la demolition notice must come up.
Morobe's Building Board Inspector Boni Tangara said to a text message response that there are no records of application from Kungi Holdings Limited operating at Lays Old Airport. Tangara said the board would meet at the first meeting next year to consult on the demolition following the stop work notice in 2019 and the demolition order of 2018. Julie Badui, Owa, National MTV News, Lay.
MTV News returns with more stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. 9 new ministers were sworn in at Government House this afternoon, while their ministerial portfolios are yet to be announced. Sam Basil has returned as Deputy Prime Minister. Ruth Rungula has more.
9 members of parliament were today sworn in as ministers of state. From the 9, 4 members were those that defected to the opposition on November 13 but made a return on Wednesday, and the remaining 5 are those that stood the test of time and stayed with Marape throughout the 5 weeks. Marape thanked the 52 members of parliament who were with him since November 13th and for their selfless acts in allowing others to be given ministerial portfolios over them.
Politics can be played, but with due consideration to the welfare and stability this country needs. And today, let me appreciate the Honorable Sam Basil and the 17 other members of parliament who, after the 4 weeks of contest, they finally appreciated what was at stake. What was at stake was reform agenda or remaining at the status quo that has held us back in the last 45 years. The reform agenda we were mooting is not a James Marape agenda. It's an agenda that belongs to correct thinking Papua New Guineans who want to make a change for the better in our country.
He also welcomed back Sam Basil and said from experience, Sam Basil only did what every senior member of parliament would have done in their bid to get the top post, and he as Prime Minister and a senior member of parliament understood this.
And so, as I've always been saying, every leaders have their moments, they make their choices, and he did no wrong. His party and his ideology is and the worldview is same as mine. So after he went there and they possibly find no traction in Crown Camp, he came back. I said, brother, the vacancy still remains. So as I said, no big offense to me or anyone. He's got every right and entitlement as a senior politician in our country to have a bid for the prime ministership. Didn't happen. The next base available is Deputy Prime Minister, still vacant.
Sam Basil thanked Marape and looks forward to working through till 2022.
And I say thank you, and that we will now be partners, and we will now be partners with the government and the coalition in government to support Prime Minister all the way to 2022 to implement the policies. And then we're looking forward for the major announcement on Sunday of how Prime Minister will structure our policies going towards 2022.
Marape said he now has a full 33-man cabinet, including himself, and will work to deliver on government priorities.
This body of 32 fine ministers we've appointed, most of them first-timers, about 5 or 6 now first-time as ministers. We want to give them portfolios for not just window dressing, but portfolios where they could actually start to assist me reconstructing the PNG that we all want for our country. And so we will take Saturday off in rest and worship and meditation and thinking about who goes where. We will take Sunday off, and hopefully in the Sunday press, in consultation with Deputy Prime Minister, in consultation with the senior members I have, including Sir John Pundari, who's very, very instrumental in making this government reconstructed. We'll have all these consultations, and we will present a portfolio lineup that is reflective of work that must be done in 2021 in preparation for 2022 and beyond.
Meantime, the 9 newly sworn-in ministers and other government ministers left for Lolowata this afternoon. The Prime Minister will call a press conference on Sunday to announce the ministerial portfolios of the 9 newly sworn-in members of Parliament and also announce his government's blueprint for the next 2 years. Ruth Rungula, National MTV News.
The people of Moresby Northeast in the nation's capital will now see the reconstruction of the road from 9 Mile to 14 Mile outside Port Moresby. Following the groundbreaking ceremony today, the 7-kilometer stretch of road will be upgraded into a 4-lane road. This major infrastructure also paves the way for more investment and development in the area.
The groundbreaking ceremony today saw the people of 9 Mile area together with other stakeholders in attendance. The proposed 7-kilometer 4-lane road will run from 9 Mile roundabout to Pacific Adventist University outside Port Moresby. The road project costs over 100 million kina and will pave way for more development initiatives for the people. With the road project underway, more benefits are expected for the people. This includes employment and the rollout of the National Capital District's vision to change settlement into suburb. According to the local contractor, the company will be employing over 600 employees from the area. Speaking during the ceremony, local MP John Cowper highlighted more development initiatives for the people. These include a new market at 9 Mile and small to medium enterprise or SME programs for the people. He says this is to empower the people. NCD Governor Paul Spakop also highlighted plans to develop settlements into suburb. And with the COVID-19 pandemic affecting the economy, strong leadership is needed to make these plans a reality. He further thanked all stakeholders who have contributed to this project. Following its commissioning today, the road project will take over 24 months to complete, and they are committed to work with time and on budget. Rayon Lakingu National, MTV News.
And now a timely Christmas gift in this festive season. A local businesswoman in Western Highlands Province has purchased roofing irons and building materials as gifts to the Seventh-day Adventist churches in the Mulbaya electorate. Ruth Young has always supported the church, and this year is no different. She spent over 84,000 kina to build missionary homes and churches. Vasinata Yama reports.
1,515.
A total of 1,515 roofing irons were bought, including building materials to construct 47 churches and 47 pastors or missionaries' houses. Each church will receive 20 iron roofing sheets each, and the pastors' houses will receive 15 each, as well as getting the housing materials.
So you straight him down, you want to finish? And by me kiss him cover. So thank you, sister. No sabbath work from God.
The proud recipients are pastors, volunteer missionaries, and the local Adventist church members in the Mulbaya electorate. Young said the donation was to support the work of the church in the rural areas. It was a timely gift as churches in the electorate have been faced with overcrowding during church services since the COVID-19 lockdown in March this year. Many have formed small groups and were having fellowships under tents or houses until the uplifting of COVID-19 measures. Businesswoman Ruth Young is one of the laity members of the SDA Church that is made up of mostly business people who support the church financially. They support the church by paying laymen or missionaries, build churches, and provide support in education and health services.
Kalaskini kain na topless and kain but you operating gonna looking most brute na meat na lewa one kind and people from God so you no can that boundary long evangelism na work long.
Vasinata Yama, National MTV News, Mount Hagen.
A timely donation also to an aging command post in one of the busiest stations in the nation's capital. Gordon's police station received 10,000 kina in kind to cater for their fuel and stationery needs during operations in the festive period. The presentation from the YGFIC Group Limited was held yesterday. The group CEO said from the 10,000 kina, 8,000 kina is earmarked to cover the cost for fuel, while 2,000 kina will be for stationery supplies for the station command.
With you coming on board to assist police in terms of the gifts here to help us run our Christmas New operation, I know it will go a long way. And I really appreciate you coming on board to assist. And thank you very much for your support. You've been always assisting us for your continuous support towards Gordon's police.
So we are from different countries, from China, but we are together in PNG. So we will try our best to build a more house and at a cheaper price to sell for everyone.
Acquittals for Mulbaya district in Western Highlands province were this afternoon presented to the Department of Implementation, Rural Development and Implementation. The 2018 and 2019 District Support Improvement Program reports were presented to DIRD's Deputy Secretary for Program Implementation, Gordon Wafimbi. Mulbaya MP Koi Trape said from the 7 million kina DSIP funds for 2018 and recarried to 2019, the district's focus was on developing law and order, health and agriculture sectors. Mulbaya becomes the fourth district in the Upper Highlands region to present its acquittals. And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the kina opened unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market this morning. At Bank South Pacific, your kina will buy $0.2775, $0.3595 Australian dollars, $0.3841 New Zealand dollars, and 27.94 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee closed unchanged, and cocoa closed higher, copper closed lower. Crude oil is trading higher, palm oil closed higher, and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading lower. Among stories making headlines overseas, 2 people are dead after Cyclone Yasa's destruction in Fiji. Stay with us for the details. Welcome back. Turning overseas, 2 people are dead and Fiji is in a state of emergency tonight after a Category 5 Cyclone Yasa left a trail of destruction over its northern islands. The worst hit spot was the island of Vanuatu.
The morning after, a Category 5 cyclone tore through northern Fiji. Homes ruined, crops destroyed, and widespread power cuts after lines were torn down.
If you imagine yourself being hungry and having a can of food with no can opener, what you do to get in there and what that can looks like after, that's what a lot of the places look like that are, if they're left, it's just all torn open, tin everywhere.
Cyclone Yasa brought with it 340 km/h winds. Schools are usually the safest places, but even they have their limits. One man reportedly died after this home collapsed, and entire towns were left flooded after a night of torrential rain. 23,000 people remain in evacuation centres.
I wish you guys could see this in person. This is freaking insane. That's our driveway. That normally, right here, on this path, is a road.
The Simon family say they feared for their lives last night as wind gusts slammed into their home.
The roar was just insane. It was like a freight train coming.
It was feared Yasa would be similar in strength to Cyclone Winston, which in 2016 killed 44 people.
We are likely looking at hundreds of millions of dollars in damages.
The reality of the situation is unfolding, where we're seeing there's a lot of need, a lot of homes destroyed, a lot of schools destroyed.
In some of the initial reports we received from one village is all the houses have been blown away.
Our government is helping with money and relief kits. The immediate focus, though, is restoring communications to cut-off areas.
They were without power for 6 weeks after Winston, and I dread to think how long we're going to have power down on the island.
A devastating end to an already difficult year.
A Chicago mayor has been forced to apologize for a botched police raid that left a woman naked, handcuffed and terrified in front of a group of armed male officers. And a warning, the city tried to suppress the video because it's so graphic, but a judge ordered it to be released.
I just gotten home from work and I was undressing.
Anjanette Young, a social worker, had just finished her shift at the hospital when 12 Chicago police officers raided her home.
And it happened so fast, I didn't have time to put on clothes.
She was completely naked, surrounded by all male officers.
And I'm just standing there. I mean, terrified. humiliated.
Young was handcuffed as the officers searched her home.
If I had made one wrong move, I felt like they would have shot me.
One police officer wraps a short coat around her shoulder, still leaving her front fully exposed. Young tells the raid team at least 43 times they are in the wrong place.
You got the wrong house! You got the wrong house!
Police got it wrong because they took the word of an informant who said a felon with a handgun lived in the apartment.
Nobody lives here but me!
Okay, you don't have to shout.
I don't have to shout! This is ridiculous!
So, where was the target? Our investigation revealed he was awaiting trial on home confinement here at a different apartment in Anjanette Young's complex. How easy would it have been to locate him? Easy. Real easy. Because he was wearing a police tracking device. Police did eventually walk Young to a room so she could get dressed. It took more than 20 minutes for the officers to say this.
We believe your story.
New research has found another reason to avoid wildfire smoke. It turns out smoke can also carry bacteria and fungi from one area to another.
New Zealand skies turned hazy and glaciers a shade of brown as Australian bushfires raged earlier this year.
It's crazy. I had no idea that it could travel this far.
Now research has revealed it could have been more than just ash that crossed the Tasman.
That smoke that arrived contained particulate matter that was less than 2.5 micrometers. And these particles are really small. And inside those particles could be plant pathogens arriving in the wind.
The findings by US researchers published today in Science found that wildfire smoke could carry bacteria and fungi with it, potentially for hundreds of kilometres. The researchers found that despite the incredible heat, wildfire conditions can create airborne pockets where microbes can survive.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild that we can get some of these tiny living things that are surviving high temperatures, high heats, and this wild mixture of things. And it's actually a little exciting and quite a bit scary too.
The report's authors say the next step is to understand just how far and which microbes are transported by smoke under different conditions. Something experts here in New Zealand will be watching closely.
As climate changes, we're going to see more and more of those fires, especially maybe here in like Canterbury region or some of the eastern parts of the North Island. And so it's going to increase our exposure and potentially have more harmful effects.
Wildfires, dangerous and damaging and potentially delivering disease.
Trukai Sports is next. Kilawani is at the sports desk.
Thank you, Dennis. The PNG men's national cricket team recorded a high percentage win in T20 International, and on the local front, some netball news from the Hero West tournament.
Trukai Sports.
Good evening and welcome to Trukai Sports. PNG Barramundis registered the highest T20 international win-loss record in 2019. The Barramundis sit comfortably amongst Pakistan, India and Afghanistan with the top 5 highest win percentages in T20 international for a calendar year. During the recent T20 International series between Australia and India, Team India had their best ever season, winning 9 out of their 11 games to finish with a 90% win-loss record for the 2020 international season. While that is an enviable record, PNG Barramundis registered the highest T20 international win-loss record in 2019 at 87.5%, placing them in the top 5 highest win percentages in T20 internationals for a calendar year. Between 1st January and 31st December 2019, the Barramundis played in 16 completed matches, winning 14 as they blazed their way to their first appearance at the ICC Men's T20 World Cup, beating the likes of Vanuatu, Bermuda, Scotland and the Netherlands along the way. The Barramundis' incredible run started with the ICC East Asia Pacific T20 World Cup regional qualifiers against the Philippines and Vanuatu, played at Amini Park, Port Moresby. Papua New Guinea comfortably qualified for the World Cup qualifiers later in the year. The regional qualifiers were followed by the Pacific Games against Samoa, Vanuatu and New Caledonia in Apia, Samoa. Another series brought another sweep for the Barramundis, winning all their matches over their Pacific neighbours to live with the gold medal. The Barramundis began the qualifiers on fire, winning their first 2 matches by 10 wickets and 80 runs against Namibia and Bermuda. At this point, the Bar's winning streak stood at 10 wins from 10 completed T20 international matches. But that came to a halt with a narrow 4-run loss to Scotland. The Barramundis hit back from that loss, winning their next 4 matches, including a come-from-behind win against Kenya, to register a thumping 45-run win and seal a berth in 2021 ICC Men's T20 World Cup in India. 2019 was a fantastic year for the Barramundis. Unfortunately, the Bars could not continue their rich vein of form in 2020, owing to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, should they need motivation, it comes in a figure, 87.5, their chart-topping 2019 winning percentage. The PNG Barramundis have several upcoming fixtures in 2021, all in the lead-up to their October 2021 debut at the ICC Men's T20 World Cup in India. The 3 days Here West 2020 netball tournament concluded yesterday. Here are some highlights and results from the grand finals. The tournament that kicked off the PNG Netball Federation newly approved competition structure recognized in the district level as a tier concluded yesterday. The Here West saw 6 teams from 5 villages bracing the sun for the 2020 title. The Under-10 division title has been taken by Boira Village, Under-13 by Parabata West, and Under-15 by Parabata East. The Under-21 title was taken by the hosts of the inaugural district-level tournament, Papa Village, scoring 17 points, beating Parabata West by 2 points. And in the 8th grade division, Parabata West proved they were the better side, defeating the hosts by 2 points. Full-time score at 12 points to 10. As per the new competition structure, Here West will now wait for other LLGs under the Kairukuhiri electorate to complete their tournament. Upon completion, select players from each LLG will form a team, then advance on to represent Kairukuhiri in the Central Provincial Tournament, which is set for June 2021. And still to come in Trukai Sports, the women's national soccer team maintain their form in the region as they prepare for regional qualifiers. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Papua New Guinea women's football team, long considered the second best side in the Oceania Football Confederation after New Zealand, are confident of putting in a strong showing in regional qualifiers. They are preparing for the OFC Women's Nations Cup, rescheduled for January and February 2022, and hoping to make it to the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup.
PNG's national women's football team has an eye on qualifying for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. The 9th edition of the tournament will be jointly hosted by Australia and New Zealand, taking place from the 10th of July to the 20th of August 2023. Ranked second behind New Zealand in Oceania, PNG women's football team has long dominated the sport amongst the Pacific Island nations, winning gold in the previous 5 Pacific Games. As co-hosts, New Zealand has automatically qualified for a prestigious event, leaving the door wide open for PNG to claim a spot in the Senior Women's World Cup.
The last 5 years, they were consecutive gold medalists. They've done very well. I think what we've started now for them is a compliment, and I think it's something that they will build on, and I'm very positive. I look forward for 2023. We have only half spot, meaning that half spot is that the winner of the Oceania, excluding New Zealand, If we find the winner will play Asia. We'll probably play the 5th place of Asia, 4th or 5th place of Asia. FIFA will decide on that, possibly on a home and away. So if our ladies win, if they make it through and they win, they are direct entry into 2023 Women's World Cup. There are a lot of other countries are trying to play PNG for friendly matches because they think the only team to beat is PNG. So we've got already Solomon Islands asking for a match in April next year to come up here, plus the men to play our 2 international friendly in here. So that's...
With the launching of the Women's National Soccer League this year, PNG FA has further strengthened the women's game in the country, providing a clear path for current and future generations of talented women to represent the country on the international stage.
The first launching, I was in Ley, and I watched the Northern Conference. I tell you, I think whoever the coaching staff that we appoint are going to have a very difficult time to select a place. I think in the Northern I saw some very big, lot of talents out there. And some unknown that I kept on asking people. They said these are unknown players. So I was very thrilled up in the Northern Conference. Down in the Southern I didn't see that because I was away. But I think we are here to see some young ladies breaking through the national team.
Haksilovai, Chukai Sports.
B-Mobile has come on board to support the Women's National Soccer League competition with 240,000 kina in kind. B-Mobile will provide mobile phone devices and tablets for player awards and data plans to the organizers of the competition. Fidelis Sokena with more.
B-Mobile, one of PNG's mobile phone service providers, has come on board to support the Women's National Soccer League. B-Mobile will provide SMS broadcasts to draw traffic to matches. They will also provide the WNSL competition administrators data plans plus other incentives, including SIM cards and mobile phones, all worth more than 200,000 kina.
We are pleased to today announce our support to the total value of 242,480 kina and 60 toya. It's our support in kind that we will give in terms of providing SMS broadcast for the entire tournament to help to generate traffic, to draw traffic of a crowd of supporters to come to the matches in both, I believe, both conferences.
Anthony Pakakota, acting CEO of B-Mobile, said they will be providing player awards where players will get Red X phones and Grand Tab tablets.
We will also provide the match awards for sponsoring the match awards through the phones that we will give to the players. We will have our representatives in both conferences to be present to award those awards. And we also giving the Grand Tab 6 for the Golden Boot Award.
PNG FA General Secretary Pius Letenge said they were grateful for the sponsorship by B-Mobile.
We're still looking for sponsors, but with this B-Mobile coming on board to support us in terms of promoting and marketing our game, it's a very big step forward in terms of our football development here, especially the women's.
Deslin Siniu, acting chair lady of the Women's National Soccer League Interim Committee, said WNSL is the platform to prepare for the 2023 World Cup, and the sponsorship is greatly appreciated.
WNSL now is the platform in terms of identifying exciting and potential talents in order to achieve the goal that we have set, and that is road to FIFA World Cup 2023. And with your support and B-Mobile's support, this will really boost girls and women in terms of their motivation and drive to be the best and also to achieve our goals.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
To sports abroad, athletes and officials around the world are in shock following a decision to have Russia's 4-year ban for state-sponsored doping. The Court of Arbitration for Sports has ruled the Russian name, flag and anthem barred from event until 2023.
Russia's state-sponsored doping program and deliberate cover-up of data threatened the integrity of competition. So the Court of Arbitration's ruling on their ban today had a mixed reception.
Well, we're pleased that the sanctions remain. What we're disappointed with is that they have been reduced from 4 to 2 years.
When an athlete's caught with a substance in their body, the starting point is a 4-year ban, and they've got to fight to reduce it. And here we've got a country with state-sponsored doping who then tried to hide it, cover it up and interfere with the investigation, and they get 2 years. It just doesn't seem right.
It's an outcome that has Russia claiming victory. The Russian name, flag and anthem is now banned, but not necessarily the athletes. They no longer have to prove they're clean, rather it has to be proved they're not.
So when an athlete arrives on a start line, they deserve a fair and clean competition, and the sanctions should reflect the extreme magnitude of the orchestrated systemic deceit on the integrity of sport.
Russian athletes can compete in the colours of their country, and the name Russia can be present on the uniform as long as the words neutral athlete or team is present as well.
I think that New Zealand athletes will be disappointed in the decision.
Russia is still allowed to co-host football's European Championship in the Champions League final, despite being banned from hosting events for the next 2 years.
I don't think it's right. I think we've let our athletes down enormously.
They might be banned from the Olympics next year, but today's ruling ensures Russia will still be there.
And that ends Trukai Sports. Dennis will be back with tonight's weather report. Bye for now.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Moniplus, with you always.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Regional forecast into the southern region. Port Moresby mostly fine, though partly cloudy with evening showers and drizzles developing. Daru mostly fine and partly cloudy with afternoon shower or two. Kerama mostly fine and partly cloudy with evening drizzles likely. Alotau mostly fine, partly cloudy. Popondetta morning showers, then fine and partly cloudy. To the Momase region, Lae mostly fine, though partly cloudy with afternoon showers developing. Madang morning showers, then fine and partly cloudy. Wewak a few showers, then fine and partly cloudy. Vanimo morning showers, then fine and cloudy. To the New Guinea Islands, Loringa fine and partly cloudy with afternoon showers likely. Kavieng mostly fine, partly cloudy with afternoon shower or two. Kokopo and Rabaul partly cloudy with afternoon showers. Kimbe cloudy with chances of rain showers and possible thunder. Buka occasional rain showers and thunderstorms easing. To the Highlands region, Mount Hagen morning fog clearing, then fine and partly cloudy with afternoon showers. Goroka and Kundiawa morning fog clearing, then fine and partly cloudy with evening showers and drizzles. Mendi and Wabeg morning fog clearing to cloudy with occasional rain drizzles. Forecasts for small crafts for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait to Daru to Kiwai Islands to Kerama to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samurai Island, with waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, with waters of Samurai Island to East Cape to Cape Vogo to Huon Gulf to Finschhafen, with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, with waters of New Island to Bougainville, with waters of East and West New Britain, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through VTS Dampier Straits to Siasi Long Islands, with waters of Long Island to Karka Island to Wewak to Aitape to the northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Ocean forecasts for PNG areas for the next 24 hours. Coral seas slight with east to southeast winds of 10 to 15 knots. Solomon seas slight with northwest to northeast winds of 10 to 15 knots. Bismarck seas slight with northwest to northeast winds of 10 to 15 knots. Pacific Ocean seas slight with northeast to easterly winds of 10 to 15 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
The way it is this Friday, the 18th of December 2020, 6 more days to Christmas. From all of us here at EMTV, pleasant viewing, stay safe, good night.